Kyle Gibson is back, and it doesn't look like he's going to be the savior of this rotation. And this guy, a top prospect for the Orioles, is now also on the injured list. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest. Guys, I'm trying everything here. I said I wouldn't shave until we had good news. I haven't done that. I've switched out the Orioles cap for a Johns Hopkins University cap to try and bring you some good news. I'm asking David Rubenstein what's going to be. I know I've kept saying to you all, don't panic. It's still early. Well, after the drubbing from the Yankees last night, it is time to panic, and not for the reasons that you probably think. You're probably going to say, yeah, the pitching was horrible. Kyle Gibson got hit all over the place. He did. That's not why, though, in my opinion. That's not the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to the latest injury that the Orioles have. What is going on with these pitching injuries at every level of the organization? We're going to break it down, and I'm going to show you some very alarming stats about the Orioles with runners in scoring position. Please like, subscribe, do all the things. We got to stick together through this rough time as Orioles fans, because at some point it has to turn around, right? At some point we have to wake up and say, all right, something good is going to happen. Well, last night wasn't it. Kyle Gibson's back. We know he had some soreness in the minors. He is a veteran. He knows how to pitch just like Charlie Morton does. But this is the big leagues. And unfortunately, with a lineup against the Yankees, and you saw the back-to-back homers to lead the game. So immediately when Gibby exits, you're down 9-0. So yes, that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the lineup, which we're going to get to, but the lineup simply isn't, delivering either. So look, if you want to look at the stats, we can. Gibby's stats, 3 2/3, 9 runs on 11 hits, 2 walks, 2 Ks, 5 homers, all of that in 73 pitches. Do I think Kyle Gibson will get another start? I do. I think he will get one more start simply because the Orioles don't have a ton of options at this point. But, we'll have to see, how it gets done. The one thing I think that Kyle Gibson adds to the club, and something he said after the game last night, which is certainly, well taken, which is the hard part to do now is not sit here and think you got to get it all back in 10 games by May 15th. Try to be 5 games over 500. He said it's a tough mental battle to fight. Best thing you can do is look at tomorrow and see if you can finish the calendar by winning a series, and then win a series in May. You can't just do it 10 games at a time. You've got to do it one at a time. But how do we even get the one at a time at this point? How do we get the one at a time? And that is the question. This was the headline in the Baltimore Sun today. The starting pitching issues keep putting the lineup in a hole. Hyde said, we're having a tough time keeping teams down early in the game. The understatement of the year. When you look at, the stats, the Orioles are something like, I don't have it in front of me, but they've been down more than 9 runs. They've had more at-bats down 9 runs or more than any other team in the league this year. But here's the problem. I get the starting pitching problems. I totally get that. That is not at all lost on me. However, here is my concern, amongst other things. The Orioles are hitting just 195 with runners in scoring position, next to last in the American League, behind the Sox. Their biggest problem, of course, is against lefties. They've only beaten lefties twice, 10 times. That slash line is absolutely despicable. It's horrible. They're 9-10 against righties, but they got to figure out a way to hit the lefties. So again, I don't let this lineup off the hook. in a way, I would have rather have lost, I would rather have scored 7 or 8 runs in the loss to just show some life in the bats. But this team is lifeless. This team is absolutely lifeless right now. And, if you're going to point to kind of one, here's a stat I was looking for actually. In 2023, the year Gibby led our team in wins, the Orioles manufactured 48 comeback wins, tied for first. This year, the Orioles lead the American League in plate appearances while trailing by 9+ runs. So again, these bats have got to start to come alive. Now, don't laugh. Don't laugh when you see this. Don't laugh. The one bright spot last night was Charlie Morton. Morton came in. It was going to be his bullpen day anyway. Morton came in as the third pitcher, and he didn't look bad. I don't want to say it too loud because hopefully this is a turnaround for him. But, Morton didn't look bad. He threw 43 pitches, 2 1/3. He gave up a run, but it was unearned, and that was actually Gunnar Henderson booting a ball that should have been the third out. We'll talk about the defense another time. The reason for panic now is that nothing is working. The pitching is horrible, near worst in the American League. The hitting is horrible, near worst in the American League. The defense is horrible, and there's no answer in sight. There's no answer in sight because you have an entire starting rotation on the IL. Grayson and Zach and Trevor and Chase and Tyler Wells and Kyle Bradish and Albert Suarez and Andrew Kittredge. Sorry for the typo there. And now there's another one. Something is going on that we have to figure out because now there is another injury. Michael Forret. You may not have heard of him. It's okay. It's okay if you haven't heard of him. Michael Forret, though, for those of you who haven't heard of him, is the number 2 pitching prospect in the Orioles organization, according to Baseball America, and 8th overall. He's the second pitcher only behind Chase McDermott. And he left. He was scratched from his high A start because of discomfort in his lower back. Doesn't sound bad, but when you get scratched from a start, especially a guy who has had 4 stellar starts this season so far, it is a concern. And at some point, our depth in the organization goes away because of injuries. Now, silver linings, few and far between, I suppose, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. I suppose a silver lining is, well, John, we're going to hopefully get back Eflin. We're going to hopefully get back Grayson. We're going to get back Kittredge, and all of a sudden things are going to turn around. That's what we can hope for at this point. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest.